not valuable enough for bubble wrap. He is playing Bears against the Bills. The reigning MVP, Josh Allen, is just going to eat some sunflower seeds. Williams, though, starting in all of it. Bears took an early 7-0 lead. Later in the first quarter, Williams, his night is over, but we get to keep an eye now on the second rounder. Luther Burden, the wide receiver over there, deep, getting pushed out here near the 40. So that's a 22-yard pickup into Bills territory. And then later in the drive, Britton Brown takes it in for the touchdown. But I don't really care about that. I want you to watch Burden setting the edge on DeMar Hamlin and then clearing the way for the touchdown. Burden, by the way, 3 catches, 49 yards. And that right there, this was a big win for the Bears. It's the preseason, but it was still big.
A month ago, I think I've grown a lot. Now, my mindset is, keep growing. It's been my mindset since I've been a little child, is to keep growing and, where I'll see myself. I think, the idea is to be able to handle every single thing that I can, and everything that Ben says that, I should be able to handle.
Anytime you're a young player, there's usually a couple steps forward and 1 step back. And that's really been the story of his training camp. And he and I have been really open and honest about that as we've gone through. And he's had some really good practices, and then he's had a couple where it's like, that's not good enough, bud. So I thought really the 3 days of practice we had this week and this game were the most he's stacked up good days in a row right now. And so the challenge is going to be to keep pushing in that direction.
All right, so let's get Louis Riddick's thoughts on our first look at Caleb Williams and that Ben Johnson offense after all of the practice reps. What was your assessment of Williams at game speed this go-round?
I think what you're seeing is the fact that Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears coaching staff is making things as hard as possible on Caleb Williams in this current iteration of the Chicago Bears offense really is paying dividends, because now, just like coaches always want, they want the practices to be harder so the game looks easy. That's what you saw tonight. You saw an offense that looks like, hey, look, all the reports coming out of Chicago about maybe them being thrown off the field and Caleb struggling and them not being clean as far as, the quarterback center exchanges or the operation as far as pre-snap penalties. That didn't show up at all, really, in any significant way. And Caleb Williams looked like the guy who everyone expected him to be last year when he came out in the draft #1 overall, as far as being clean, decisive, great footwork, operating from the pocket, can get outside the pocket when he needs to. A guy who can create, but also, a steady diet of playing within structure and with rhythm, which is exactly what Ben Johnson is known for. Just think about what he did for Jared Goff and how he enhanced his game in Detroit. I think if you're a Chicago Bears fan right now, this is exactly what you wanted to see. Now you want to see this offense continue to trend up, not get too hyped up over the fact that it was his first preseason game, but it's a great start. That's exactly what you want. That's exactly what you're looking for. And all these pieces, these fantastic pieces that GM Ryan Poles has put together on the perimeter, on top of really solidifying the interior 3 of this offensive line and making sure that Caleb Williams doesn't get pressure in his face, it's all coming together like a nice puzzle right now. And I think once they hit week 1, there's going to be some growing pains, but I think now you probably take a deep breath and have a sigh of relief, thinking maybe they're further ahead than what maybe some of the reports were coming out of there, albeit preseason, but you'll take this rather than the alternative for sure.
Certainly. Look, a massively encouraging start on a macro level and on a micro level with that first drive touchdown. That bests already the offense's total output on opening drives last season. They had 6 points then. They're off to a hot start now. Louis Riddick, please don't go too far. We got some more NFL action.
Football season, let's go.
Yeah, it is. If you were worried about Travis Hunter's snap count, don't worry about it today. He didn't take any. Saints and Jags still rolling in the preseason. Trevor Lawrence was still rolling for the Jags. 2nd and goal from inside the 10. Finds Parker Washington for the early score. Lawrence's day ended 8 for 10, 76 yards, and that touchdown. Now, the Saints are trying to figure out their quarterback situation. Tyler Shuck trying to win the starting job here, 1st and 10 from the 23. That's a little less than ideal.
Not great.
Footwork. Ew. Loses his footing. Tough start on the day. 2nd quarter. We try to get a little better. 1st and 20. All right. The feet at least set this time. And hey, 28-yard gain. Trayton Welch on the receiving end of that. Shuck finishes 9 of 12 for 66 yards. Spencer Rattler is the other half of that QB battle. Later in the fourth, 3rd and 9 from the red zone. Dante Pettis, shedding the defender, gets in for 6. Saints down by 2, so they're going to go for 2. It's the preseason, baby. Just let it fly. Rattler looking to run, gets there. It ends in a tie because it don't matter, really. Rattler, heck of a day, though.
Louis Redick is back with us. I want to get your thoughts on what the Vikings are doing this preseason because there's a quarterback change in Minnesota. It's going to be J.J. McCarthy this year. Missed all of last season, his rookie season with a knee injury. Yet this year will be the starter. We've barely seen him this preseason. If you had it your way, what would you be doing with J.J. McCarthy?
Quite honestly, Nicole, I'd be doing exactly what Kevin O'Connell and the coaching staff in Minnesota is doing. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, especially when we're talking about all these other quarterbacks and a guy like Caleb Williams and, over the fact, and we were kind of like sweating the fact that he hadn't played in the preseason up to this point. And we're going, well, why does J.J. McCarthy get a pass? He's only played basically 2 series last year and then 1 series this year, and now they're going to put him in bubble wrap? Well, I think it's because, look, he played so much in college. He's been in this system now going on 2 seasons. And I think they have so much intel on him and so much confidence in the fact that, look, we moved up to 10 overall to draft this young man for a reason. And that's because we think he has great mental horsepower. We think he has a great foundation. We've seen everything that we need to see in practices up to this point that lead us to believe it'll transfer to games. In his limited time that he played in the game, he looked fantastic. His movement looks back. That meniscus looks totally 100%. Why do we need to risk it at this point? What's he going to show us in another game or a couple more plays in a preseason game that's going to make us feel any more comfortable than we feel already? Nothing. So I think, look, if I'm Kevin O'Connell, I'm going, you're done, you'll get your reps in practice, and then let's just cut it loose with this roster that we think is good enough to obviously contend for the North and contend for the NFC overall. We'll just put all of our chips on the table then. We're not risking anything else now. And quite honestly, I like JJ in college. I love him even more now. I do the same thing.
Look, the bubble wrap theme is a common one in the NFL at this point in the season. So we've now had, two weeks of preseason action. Is there a team, and if so, who's impressed you the most to this point?
I think it's the New England Patriots. And I know, like, years ago, we would have been like, oh, man, not more New England Patriots talk, right? Enough of them. Let's move on to someone else. Well, then they fell off. The roster disintegrated. Obviously, we know what happened as far as the coaching change overall and how they basically hit the bottom of the barrel. Well, I think now this is going to be a team that's going to surprise. I think Mike Vrabel is a fantastic coach and leader. Josh McDaniels is exactly what Drake May needs on that offense. And they revamped the offensive line, made it stronger. I think like 4/5 of this offensive line is going to be different this year. They added more weaponry. Trevion Henderson, who we've already talked about this weekend, is a fantastic, just explosive playmaker out of the backfield on special teams. They added playmakers at all 3 levels on the defensive side.